that too.
Okay, so if somebody would like to.
We're recording, so anytime you want to go, we can do it.
Okay, let me see if I can share my screen and we will. We will start. Okay, is my screen shared?
Not yet.
No. There you go.
There we go. Okay. Let's see if we can get it to go into slideshow. Okay. Here we go. Welcome. Thank you all so much for coming in and joining us for the third of our One Rotary Summit events this year. This is number 3, and we'll be doing public image just so I can get a couple of ground rules under the way. I'm Dale Quigley, the DGN, for anybody who doesn't know me yet. Please stay muted during the presentations. Enter all your questions into the chat box and send them to Mike Becker, who will correlate them and have them all ready for our question and answer session. Please be ready to jot down notes because this hour will be chock full of good ideas. If you have further questions when we end this, please feel free to drop me a line if you want more information at dquigley5960@gmail.com. So here's our game plan for today. We will have a welcome from our own district governor, Ed Merrick. Then we'll do a quick intro on, this is still misspelled, but life, like life, it's all about the circle. We're gonna have cutting edge info from above, successful club strategies, and a how-to. And we will end it with 30 minutes of questions and answers. So Ed, you're up.
Thank you, and welcome to the final session of District 5960's One Rotary Summit. Rotary opens opportunities. Rotary International President Holger Knopf's theme is so appropriate in this time of unprecedented challenges. At the International Assembly last January in San Diego, Holger quoted Paul Harrison shared, "It is a time to be bold and make revolutionary change." To meet these challenges, we've offered 3 separate sessions to create this year's One Rotary Summit. We had one on membership, one on foundation, and this one on public image. These sessions have offered a deeper dive into these topics, which gives us the opportunity to share strategies and tools for you and your club to thrive in the future. Thanks for attending this final session and for your commitment to opening opportunities. Dale?
Thanks, Ed. So let's start here. Rotary vision statement says, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. For people who have been with us for the last 2 sessions, what we're about to discuss is really a recap for everyone. For those people who are new, it's an interesting topic for us to discuss. Although a lot of people are aware of Rotary International's vision statement, less people are more familiar with their strategic plan and the fact that Rotary right now has 4 priorities. One is to increase our impact. There are so many things in the world, so many places for us to do good. We need to reach out and increase the impact. We need to increase our reach. We need to take our arms and spread them wide and find people in our communities who are Rotarians at heart. They're Rotarians in their mind. They simply don't have a membership card. We need to enhance our engagement. We need to take our members who are currently active and have them truly be engaged as Rotarians. And finally, if we have learned nothing in 2020, it's that we all need to adapt over and again. If we are not moving forward, we are falling behind. In the past, Rotary looked at membership, foundation, and public image as if they were individual silos. Would deal with, you'd have a membership team, a foundation team, a public image team, as if these things did not interact. That's not really the way these things work. It's really much more like a circle, like the circle of life. Membership. If we increase our membership, it affects the Rotary Foundation. The Rotary Foundation will grow. And as the Rotary Foundation grows, we can undertake more projects and have a greater impact. And the more projects and greater impact we have, the more the public will be aware of us. We will increase our public image, and increasing our public image increases our membership. So I like how these two things overlap each other. If we look at the Rotary International strategic priorities, it's to increase our impact, and increasing our impact will increase and enhance engagement. The more people we have, the more we can adapt, the more ideas will flow, we will expand our reach, and the circle will continue. And with this, we can overlay our 3 pillars. We can see that everything spirals. Increased memberships means more donors mean more and better projects, which leads to stronger clubs and a positive public image, and the circle will go round. So today we are talking about public image. And let me introduce today's panelists. As I said, this will be fast and furious, with each person having 5 minutes to give their spiel and teach you something new. So here are our panelists. We have Kathy Fahey. Kathy is from Zone 29. For people who are not aware, our clubs are part of our district of 5960, and 5960 is part of Zone 29. Kathy is actually the head of public image for Zone 29, and she will be talking about Rotary Central. It's the bomb. We have Trisha Christensen from the Hudson Daybreak Club, right across the river in Wisconsin, talking about consistency is key. We have Kelly Tuttle from way up north from the Hayward Club in Hayward, Wisconsin, talking about going low tech. And then finally, we'll have Sean Barry, our own co-chairman of our own public image team, talking about let's label that photo. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Kathy Fahey.
Thank you very much. Today I'm going to show you 5 new public image resources in 5 minutes. So hang on, get ready to focus, because here we go. Number 1, there's an updated voice and visual guide was loaded onto the Brand Center earlier this year. It can be accessed by going to rotary.org/brandcenter and selecting the Guidelines tab in the center of the screen. When you get to the page, just scroll to the bottom and select the voice and visual guide from the list. The updated version was added in March and includes a handful of additional pages with logo usage options. A few of those updates include an updated treatment for Rotary Youth Exchange using the lockup format. For the logo, for those of you who may not be familiar with the term lockup, it's what we call the version of the logo with a line, or technically a pipe, to the right of it, and a Rotary program and other versions to the right of that. There are also usage guidelines for other Rotary programs like RILA as well. These were all updated to enhance our brand by promoting consistency throughout. On to the second thing you need to know. There are more options than ever when it comes to customizing your logo. Simply click under the Logo tab in the Brand Center. I think you got to catch up with me with one slide here, Dale.
Am I one behind?
Yep, there we go. Now we're on. Now go to the next one. Select and create your own templates as you have in the past. Click on Create, and the world awaits. This will hopefully look familiar to you with the menu of all the options, but there may be a few that you haven't seen before as they have been recently added. Next slide. There we go, and one more. You can select our standard Rotary logo or customize ones for Rotaract. Next slide.
Okay, mine is showing it as being up there already, so it must be a delay.
Yeah, and Interact as well. Then there is the simplified version, which has the simplified wheel for those instances when the logo will be used in smaller spaces, not allowing you to easily read the words in the wheel. This has been referred to as the digital version as well. Next one, I think you're seeing the advanced ones, so you might be one behind, so go ahead one more. You can also select color variations. Here's the one color blue azure option. The next one is the one color black option. One more.
That's it.
Still showing the blue one.
Oh, wow. My thing is,
Yeah, I'm seeing them the way Dale is, which is different.
Oh, you are.
Seeing it, Kathy, yeah.
Okay, not a problem. This
Okay.
is the one color white option. Notice that the note that while you can't see it here, when you save it and place it on a dark background, the logo will show up all white. In addition to styles and colors, there are now some added placements for customization. I'm sure you're familiar with the standard placement above the logo, and then above and below the logo options. But now we also have the lockup options, which I mentioned earlier, which are to the right of the logo. You can place a club or district name under the standard logo, then insert text as well for an event or a program to the right. Text can be changed to fit what you need and also bolded if you desire. Lots of options to consistently use the Rotary brand. And suddenly we are at number 3, an updated public service campaign. The campaign launched in June. Rotary expects to realize approximately $11 million of donated airtime on TV alone for a fraction of what it would cost to be a part of a paid campaign. This is in addition to the placements they will receive in print and radio outlets. The PSA ads and materials are posted on the Brand Center. There is a new link to this under the People of Action on the Toolkits page. The PSA ads include 6 videos, 4 radio spots, and 30 print ads for magazines. With a couple of exceptions, this is not completely new creative. The videos you are familiar with have been recut to include a unique URL, rotary.org/action. Having this unique URL allows Rotary to measure traffic to rotary.org generated by the campaign. There are new radio spots and new sizes for the print ads. They've added half-page and third-page sizes. So all 10 People of Action verbs are in 3 formats. Our fourth thing you need to know is that there is a new updated club resources to help brand all of your online activities these days. Access them by simply clicking on the Materials tab on the Brand Center homepage. Then select Club Resources, and the first group of items you will see are the new Zoom backgrounds, a wide variety of colors and themes, including ones that highlight our 6 areas of focus. There is also a customizable template. This template will allow you to create a background for virtual meetings with your club or district logo. This first slide, when you download it, gives you guidance on how to customize. Another item that's been added is a PowerPoint template. Access it by clicking on Presentations on the menu on the left. The PowerPoint template will appear. Click on it. Download. The template includes 38 templated pages, including various charts and graphic layouts. All have consistent Rotary branding and can be used for any Rotary presentation you may have. That brings us to our final resource. Number 5 are the Enhanced Public Image courses in the Learning Center. Rotary research has shown that members are looking for opportunities to grow personally and professionally, and Rotary offers them through the Learning Center. If you haven't accessed it yet, I highly encourage it. Go to rotary.org/learn and find the robust online learning management system where you'll have access to a huge array of skill and role-based e-learning modules. There are many topics to choose from. I've highlighted some that are public image related courses, and some courses brought to us through our partnership with Toastmasters, including delivering and developing a speech. There are even courses on how to use the Learning Center to get started. The Rotary brand is a great overview of our logo and visual identity, and the Getting Started with Toastmasters shares more about our learning partnership. When you enter the Learning Center, you can easily sort by categories and click on Public Image in the drop-down menu. These 4 courses pop up as ones to start with that focus on our brand. Click on one of the topics. This one is Public Image Committee Basics course, and enroll. You can choose to add it to your personal learning plan to do later, or you can start right away. This is the first page of the Building Rotary's Public Image course. Once you're inside, it's a simple self-guided course that you can stop and start as you please. Most of the courses can be completed in 15 to 30 minutes. So if you get a chance, please explore it. The Learning Center is there for you and your personal and professional development. And that wraps up our 5 updated resources in 5 minutes. An updated voice and visual guide, updated custom logo templates, new PSA campaign, updated club materials, and the Learning Center Public Image courses. All can be accessed by going to rotary.org/brandcenter or learn. Start exploring today and use these great tools provided by Rotary International.
Holy bejeebers, that was a huge amount of information in 5 minutes. Congratulations on making it through. So I hope people had their notepads going. We will send out a resource page either later tonight or tomorrow morning. So if you didn't catch it all, you'll have some great information there to fall back on.
That's good because I lost it at hello.
Okay, so here we go. Coming up next is Trisha Christensen from Hudson Daybreak on brand consistency.
Okay, I just set my timer, so I know my 5 minutes are ticking down. So I'm going to talk about brand consistency, and that is kind of my day job as creative director at a creative firm in Hudson, Wisconsin. So if we start to dive in, one of the important things with brand consistency and why they're important is people can choose, and you need to give them a reason to choose you. And usually you think of that with a company that's trying to sell something, and it applies to everything. Strong brand is important because we're trying to attract members. We want people to volunteer. It could be somebody, you know, we're trying to, like we have a foundation or an endowment in our community. Whatever it is, people have options to be engaged in their community, and we want to make sure that Rotary is top of mind. The benefit of being part of Rotary International and something larger is that it has a strong brand, and it creates a foundation of awareness that clubs can leverage on a local level. You know, when we talk to organizations at any size, we say good brands radiate from the inside out. So your group can understand who you are, what you do, why you do it, and how you're different. So as long as you're visible in your community and you're staying consistent in all your tools, whether it's print, digital, wearables, and events, people will start to recognize Rotary. The biggest thing that we try to educate also is that a brand is not necessarily your logo, right? It's a brand is owned by anybody who experiences Rotary. So you really don't have a lot of control unless you're consistently going out there and framing that conversation or sharing who you are or using the Rotary language to define who Rotary is. And again, that's another reason why consistency is invaluable. So your local Rotary brand is built on both the foundation of the larger Rotary brand, but also how you're responding and interacting to your community. Every experience someone has connects to your organization, and through all those associations, those will start to get connected to your brand identity or the brand assets and be cues to that connection that people have. And we'll go through the next ones fairly quickly. So in a nutshell, branding is everything. It's marketing, advertising, logo design, identity, trust, value, and strategy. The first two things that we're talking about, the marketing and advertising, public image works on these to promote the awareness of your brand. The next three things, your logo, your website, t-shirts, everything people see, that's how we're creating the recall to your Rotary brand. And so when people have like a feeling or an association or some sort of reference, these are the visual cues that will connect them on a larger level to who Rotary is as an organization and who your club is on a local level. And these last three things distinguish the brand: trust, value, strategy, or your positioning. These are great because they really come baked in with the Rotary brand as a whole. Service above self, people of action. Clubs on a local level can add their mission and vision and values to help differentiate from other organizations in their club. But really all of this makes up branding. So why is this important? And this is an old stat. I haven't found a new one, but you have 8 seconds to get somebody's attention span. Or actually, the attention span went from 12 seconds down to 8 seconds. And then the next one is, in digital, you only have 3 to 5. So consistency, 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 because if you only have 3 seconds, you have to be strong in how you're representing Rotary on a local level. So we want to make it easy for your audience. So we're going to focus on 3 things. It's the logo, which we had a high level introduction. Color is huge. If you think about brands that you know, like Coca-Cola, that red and a white stripe, that is just baked into people. So when we think of the blue and the gold wheel, that is something people will associate. And beyond the color and the logo, there's also the voice. It's the words you use. It's the personality of Rotary. But then what else are you saying on a community level to feel authentic to your club and what you're doing in your area? So there are different uses of the logo. The wheel being the most recognizable, or the mark of excellence. I call it the wheel, but I do know it's called the mark of excellence in the new brand guide. Across the board, you start to see, oh, I'm already over my limit. I'll talk faster. Why don't you skip to the next one? Everybody knows the Rotary Foundation logo in the overview. And so these are the colors. These are all the colors in the brand guide you have to choose from. But really, if you look at the 3 blues and the gold, those are the primary core colors. And if we skip forward, this is Hudson Daybreak Rotary. So we focused on the 4 core colors. And then in addition to our mission and what we do in our community, we tied our public image to our visioning session. And how do we want people to recognize our club in our area? And 3 words that came out were fun, friendship, and that we were active. So really the photography we wanted to use should tie into that sentiment as well. So on our website, and we use Club Runner, we're using those core colors. The logo is in the header, so we're really just using the mark of excellence almost as a watermark on top of photography. Beyond the website, our LinkedIn profile, very consistent, using more photography, and again, using the mark of excellence. Moving forward, Facebook, again, very consistent. We're starting to put language in there so people start to recognize us on a verbal level as well. And then when we get into actual posts and what we're showing, we can show with the mark of excellence branded on a graphic, or we can make sure people are wearing like our t-shirts. We have these gold t-shirts. So you have some flexibility, but you can see that these 4 start to feel really consistent across the board when we're showing up again and again, because we need multiple touch points to get people engaged in the community. And then even in print, we have a membership brochure and a digital piece, but logo, color, voice, repeat. Just keep hitting it hard and people will start to recognize you. That's it. Sorry, I went over.
Thank you. That was fabulous. It was fabulous. I'm going to stop sharing right now. And up next, talking to us about low tech, going low tech, is Kelly Tuttle from Hayward, Wisconsin. Oh, so make sure you unmute.
Unmuted. So no slides for me. I took low tech to heart when Dale asked me to do this. So just to tell you a little bit about our club, we are in Northwest Wisconsin. We have about 25 members. I feel all of our members are very active. We're very lucky in that regard. A lot of our members are older. And so we haven't done a lot of high tech things. We have Facebook. We certainly communicate by email, but we don't do a lot of branding or that type of thing. But I feel like we've been a really successful club. And I think we've had some success with a few things. We're able to offer $6,000 in scholarships to our local high school each year, which is a lot for our community. We usually have inbound and outbound exchange students that we support. And we also have been really fortunate to be able to help other clubs in our area. So I think we've done this public image wise in a few ways. Because we are really low tech, we try and get our name and our people out in our community. So we do a lot of things locally. We do roadside pickup a few times a year. No one does roadside pickup without a yellow safety vest that says Rotary on the back of it. A friend once said to me, you show up to an event and one person has a Rotary t-shirt on or a Rotary vest on, it looks like they just came from work. But you have 3 or 4 people with a Rotary vest or a Rotary t-shirt on, and that's a group and that's an organization. And it shows the public that we're doing a lot of good in our community. So we really try and get out there into local events a lot. And that's how we've gained membership, I feel too. We actually help at a lot of local sporting high school events. We set up the course for the local high school cross country team. We make sure they stay on the course. We volunteer. We have the American Birkebeiner. We're very active with the American Birkebeiner, and our club does a lot with that. So our key to success, low tech, is just to make sure that we are out in public. We're wearing our clothing. I think 2 other keys to our success is we work with well-established local businesses. So our Rotary Rose Sale for years and years has been a local florist that's well loved in our community. So we also promote Bonnie's Florists. When we do that, we're starting a new fundraiser where we're going to distribute candy at Valentine's Day. We're working again with a local candy maker. He's donating all of the candy. And so we make it a two-way street. So they're getting a little PR and our public image looks great. You know, during COVID, we put up signs at the hospital just to say thanks for the volunteers, thanks for the hospital staff. We put our logo on it. So it was a huge banner. And so we just really simply try and put that banner everywhere we can, whether it's on our clothing or at our events, even if they're small high school sporting events. We also work really closely with our newspaper. We have a small local newspaper, so we do that a lot. And the simplest low tech thing we do is because a lot of our folks are older, we call them all the time. We have a really good record keeper, and we call our members regularly that haven't been coming to meetings. We ask for their help, and I think it helps if we ask very specifically what a certain item is they can do. We try and make it as easy as possible to say yes. So record keeping is also for us a really, really good way of keeping things low tech, but folks involved. So I have been with our club 5 years and was really happy to join it and love our club. So, but I am happy to see all the branding and things. We'll take advantage of that. So thanks for that information. And I'm down to 30 seconds, so I'm going to wrap it up.
Way to go, Kelly. Thank you. And I should say, Hayward's my old club. Go Hayward, Wisconsin. Love them. And so the last one is our how-to today with Sean Berry. I am hoping he is on. Sean, are you out there?
Yes, I returned.
Are you going
I had a crash before.
Uh-oh. Are you going to share your screen so you can show it live?
Yes.
Perfect. I'll let you take that.
Hoping you're seeing an iPhone here.
Yes, we are.
Okay. So first thing we do is we just go to app.poaphotos.com. And it'll show up with a screen with some sample images. We'll click Open Photo. And I have to figure out where I put them here. And open a photo from that you just took. I'm not used to Apple. And that one's turned, so we will make sure that it is correct before we do it. We'll click transform and we can rotate that image. Click the check mark up there. To add the POA template, you click templates. Either it's Rotary, Rotaract, or Interact. And select one of the templates. And this one is Kyle Haugen ending polio. If you click any of the corners, you can make it, resize it, and then click anywhere in the template, you can then relocate that or move it. And click the check mark. That's how easy it is. And you click the little download, you can save it. Oh, it reset on me. That's the problem with using emulators. We can go to the desktop, which would be the same thing pretty much. So that was that photo. The next photo I was going to show you is pretty much the same. The other template sample photo I was going to use. This is my club doing transform. Again, we click templates. What if it's Rotary, Rotaract, or Interact, and what it is. So this one is transform, if I could find that one. And it's the same on mobile or desktop. Mobile, you click and keep your thumb or finger on the corner. Desktop, you click and drag. Apply. And save. That's only 2 minutes. I'm done. Unless you have questions on anything else.
Well, let me just ask you right now, is doing it on the Android phone the same?
Yes, so on Android would be the same. And let's see if I can find an Android Pixel XL. It's not going to let me play.
Okay, but it's basically the same thing.
Basically the same thing, yes.
Okay. So, Sean, thank you very much. And just so people know, as I said, we will have a resource page going out that gives you kind of the steps so that you have it in hand while you try this, because hopefully everybody's going to start posting people up action photos. So now, it is now 4:31 and we are ready for the Fast and Furious question and answer section. Mike Becker has been so good at doing this, and he will be running that today and directing questions to our 4 panelists. Mike, are you there?
Yes. The first question is for Sean. Sean, is there any password needed to access app.poaphotos.com?
No, no password.
Okay. And the other question that I have for you is, Barbara is asking, does this app automatically upload the picture to our photo library on our website?
No, when you save the photo, it will save it to your phone, and then you can post it to your website or social media accounts.
Okay. And from David, Sean, would we use this to post to Instagram?
You would use it to post to any one of your social media accounts.
I love your long-winded answers. It's
and
great.
your website and print them or whatever you need to do to get the word out.
Okay, Sean, I have a two-parter for you, okay? First is there a Rotary emoji? And if not, how can we have one produced?
I don't believe that there is an official Rotary emoji, no. There is the this close, but it's not actually this close, but you can say it is.
Kathy, Fahey, do you know that answer or not?
Yeah, there's not one currently, and I don't know. That's too technical for me. I don't know how you make one of those. I'm going to send that back to Sean.
Okay, fair enough. I'm picking the resources.
I can check into it, but I know it's really hard to get it to the to get Apple and Android to pick up on a special emoji.
Okay. I know some of you have been asking in the questions about whether or not these slides will be available. I can tell you that the recording will be put on the website, and as far as the slides, we'll deal with that after the meeting is concluded. So for those of you that kind of want to go back and review it, anytime you get technology, it seems like it seems a little overwhelming and at first. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. Dale, I don't have any other questions.
No questions? Okay. So let me go with this. So Kathy, I should have come up with a whole bunch of questions in advance. We never need extra questions. I think there was so much information. People were just blown kind of away. So a number of years ago, Rotary kind of changed its brand. The way things were set up. Is that now fairly settled? Is that going to alter again?
No, it should be. What's interesting is people still refer to it as the new logo, but it's been our logo now for 8 years. 8 years we've had the updated branding. So instead of saying new, I try to say the correct logo. The older legacy is what we're calling it. Legacy version, which is the 2-color wheel, is no longer follows brand standards. That is one of our legacy ones. And so there are still, believe it or not, clubs using a lot of legacy things. So we're still trying to get people to use the updated and the correct logos. It's amazing how it takes a while for that to filter through, but technically it's been 8 years. There is no intention of changing that for a long time down the road yet. So we just encourage everyone to use the variables. I mean, we've added in the Rotaract Interact, those lockups where you can put things next to them, whether you have a club event or something like that. So we want to try to make sure that we utilize those as best as we can.
So I have another question for you too, and I have to admit, you may have talked about this during your presentation, but I was busy.
You were advancing slides, so it's okay.
Advancing slides. People have asked in the past, so it's polio month, or it's, you know, a certain day in Rotary. Is there any place on Rotary Central that has like mock-up newspaper articles or something that you can grab and drop into your Facebook page instead of having to produce it yourself?
When it comes to some of those days, not necessarily, but there are things that are related to certain areas of focus and to the foundation that are just very general, basic things. If you go into the brand center and on the side, there are categories usually that follow the centers. There's obviously still the 6 areas of focus until June of 21. Then we'll see the 7th one pop up there. So there are some of those items, but there's not necessarily all of those things put in. And that's where it's great to use the app like Sean is sharing. You can use an image of your local club to make it more relatable for people, and then utilize one of those words, and then just type in a little text in your post to tell about what you're trying to do, or grab some text from a Rotary site that says that it's Foundation Month or something like that.
Okay.
Dale, I have a few more questions if we could.
Yep, go for it.
This comes from David. In a larger city, how should we get a PSA run?
So if you go to, let's see, in the brand center, there's actually the downloadable things that I mentioned, but I can send you, if you go into the brand center, under the toolkits, there is a section that says it's the People of Action tools. There's the PSA tools. There is a 1-pager that's a PDF format that talks about how media can access the download center. And on that also has the contact information for the, I can't think of the group right now. There's the group, the public relations group that we're working with to get these out. And they also have an update on which media they've contacted in major markets and all of that as well. So if you go into the toolbox in the brand center, under People of Action toolbox, kind of where I showed you, and we'll get my slides out so you can see that again. There is a 1-pager that says about how to access that if you're media or you want to get that to the media.
Thanks, Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
I have a kind of a general question. I think either Kathy or Kelly or Tricia could answer. If you could do one thing in your club to promote Rotary, what would you suggest doing? One thing. I got 3 smiles.
I'll start off. I think one simple thing you can do to promote Rotary is to put together a series of small testimonials from your members about why they joined. Just short little 1-sentence clips, and then utilize those in social media so your local community sees your Rotarians and why they're committed to Rotary, why they want to be a Rotarian. That's just a great way to not only showcase some projects that might be going on, because some people will more than likely say that they're a Rotarian because of a specific cause or a project, but it's also a great way to have people see their peers and see someone that, oh, I didn't know they were a Rotarian, and to start a conversation to ask them to do more or to learn more.
I'll go
Commissioner
next.
Kelly, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so I think one of the, we work really hard at getting, wearing our shirts and our vests and, advertising. I do think we missed the ball a couple times. For instance, we man a food station at the American Mercaminer. There's 7,500 skiers coming through. Why on earth we don't have a sign up saying sponsored by Rotary of Hayward is beyond me. And now that I know some of these extra special tools, I think we'll do that. Because I'm sure there's a lot of Rotarians skiing. And if they see us out there, I think it's the best thing we can do for membership.
And to piggyback off of what Kelly just said, to get one of those pop-up roll-up banners that has your club logo, and then you can also say our club participates in, or as a result of our club, here's the things that we do, and have that listed and showcase that every time, like you just said, when you're doing something in the public.
Tricia, do you want to add to that, or you?
No, I would. And we do social, and we have the pop-up banner. And the one thing I think we do really well for our events or when we're out is we have a piece that we hand out to people, because inevitably someone only has a few seconds and they say, oh, what does your club do? And we say, why don't you take this? Here's all the organizations we've helped and given millions of dollars to in the last however many years. And we'd love to have you at a meeting, and just send them on their way. So I love digital and being progressive, but sometimes low tech and traditional is great too for the community.
Great. This comes from Al. He says, I like the greater flexibility. Sean, is there a preference or guidance on font use?
I believe that it would be in the visual guidelines. There's a bunch of fonts, preferred fonts, and then the free alternative fonts that you can use.
Yes, they are in that voice and visual guideline, which was the first item that I showed you was updated, where it shows the logos. There are actually 5 different fonts. 2 of them are fonts you need to pay for. Frutiger is the most well-known font, although it is a paid font. That's actually the font of the euro, in case you were curious. But there are other ones like Sentinel and Georgia that are free that you can use that are similar. So that voice and visual guide, which you can find on the Brand Center, it's in the very, when you come to the home page, it's in the very center, the first row, it says guidelines. If you click on that, that's that voice and visual guide. It will give you direction or guidelines for fonts to use.
And I think this is a general question, comes from Mary for any of the panelists. Does anyone use any of the learning resource courses at their club meetings? I don't know about the low tech, but how about the others?
Tricia? Ironically, we haven't yet, but we talked about it in our board meeting today, actually. We're trying to look for some more content for some of our Zoom meetings to mix things up a little bit. And we've talked about maybe running through a course during a club meeting. So we haven't yet, but we're seriously considering it.
And Kathy, as long as I have your attention, I'm going to ask you to talk about the improper uses of the rotary wheel or master brand, such as putting it on a bicycle.
I don't know if it's improper to put it on a bicycle, just do it correctly. And
Okay.
are you referring to something specific that I'm not aware of?
That's really how it was asked. They were asking,
okay,
maybe what's a proper or an improper way to do it?
So the proper ways to utilize the Rotary logo are if you are using it in any print or any medium, really, you should only use the wheel itself if there's another place where the entire Rotary logo is together. And when I say the Rotary logo, that's the word Rotary and the wheel next to it. That is our logo, not just the wheel. As Tricia showed us in one of the visuals that she had, it had the wheel overlaid with a photo. She also mentioned that the entire master brand, so the Rotary with the wheel, was in the header of that banner. So you can use the wheel by itself, but it's preferred to only do that if you show the complete Rotary logo. Also, remember that the wheel itself is transparent. It is one color. So the color that shows through the spokes, between the spokes, should be the color of your background or your visual. So therefore, when we talked about the 2-color logo, the gold with the blue that we've seen, that's a legacy logo. That the only time blue should show through is like on the back of my thing here, and because the background's actually blue. If that background was green, you'd see green coming through there. There should not be a blue and gold logo or wheel on top of that. So those are kind of the main things. The easiest way to do it is to customize your logo in the brand center. Simply type it in and download it, and it's set up for you exactly how it should be. And just to give you if you aren't familiar with file types, there are different file types to download. A PNG file is one that has a transparent background. So if you're looking for your logo with a transparent background so you can put it on something else and see through, pick the PNG file. A JPEG, a JPG file, has a white background around it. So you'll always see white all the way around it. So that's a difference for those of you who may not be familiar with different file types.
Thanks, Kathy. And the next question is for either Tricia or Kelly. My club, the question comes from Corey, and it's a statement and a question. My club doesn't have the resources / people who are interested in investing time to properly use a website or social media. Is there a way to hire someone such as Kathy that looks like someone to help us? I think they're asking for help.
Yeah.
What would any of you, maybe starting with the low tech and work our way up? Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can start. So we actually reached out recently not recently, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, to our local community college. And we actually got a volunteer that way. And she is involved with the college's social media outreach. And she's the one that really got recently our Facebook page up and running, Instagram, that type of thing. So we did that. That's how we kind of tapped into it. We just asked, and we were fortunate enough to find Jessica. So we literally just asked at our local community college for help. We are really sincerely low tech. So,
Tricia, do you want to go next?
Sure. I believe if you want a club runner site, though, you need to have club runner access. So it may be something where you're working with someone in your community, but they'll have to use an account that belongs to a Rotarian. So there's got to be a level of trust there. I would highly recommend, though, if you do have colleges in your area, students are always looking for some sort of internship. So this is a perfect example of creating a social media calendar, scheduling things out, maybe touching base on a monthly basis. You can ask a freelancer to do things, at a discounted rate, or recruit. Try to recruit a professional and bring them into the club. And this could be the way that they give back, because some professionals are really good at giving their time and talent. And so you may just have to do some headhunting.
Okay. I have one for Kathy Fay. It seems in many clubs that public image has taken a backseat to membership and foundation initiatives in a club. Why should we change our outlook, and how can we best go about starting that change?
I think it's important to make sure that you have all 3 areas: membership, foundation, and public image, as both Dale and everyone has talked about, Tricia talked about. Your brand is what people perceive and what they see. It's one thing to focus on asking for money for the foundation or to try to get new members, but how can you do that without telling your story? Part of our public image really is telling our story. And making sure that we have that consistent look and feel. Otherwise, we're just muddying the waters every time we have a message out there. So it really is key to have all of these work together to make sure that as you're talking about the foundation, What is the impact that the foundation makes? What are the reasons that we should be giving? When it comes to membership, what does your club do for an impact? How does your club impact the community? And we need to tell those stories and craft those stories. A good way to start is to simply, in the brand center, in that People of Action section, there's actually a People of Action campaign guidelines booklet. I think it's only like 13 pages or 12 or 13 pages. Anyway, on page 5 in that booklet, that actually has questions on how you figure out your Rotary story. And you can do this as a club. And from that, you can kind of figure out what your elevator speech is as a club. What is our club known for? And then get all of your club members to commit that. They don't have to memorize it, but memorize the gist of it. So when you're talking about Rotary, you're all sharing the same message. And that's more powerful than having things haphazard and having people make things up on the fly. So I think that's a good first step. And then just making sure that what you do is consistent, making sure that your messaging, your image, your look, the photos you're sharing, just be as consistent as possible. And that's a good way to start.
Okay, Sean or Kathy, Al's asking, I haven't checked Club Runner font colors in the past few months. Have they added the Rotary brand colors, or is there a plan to add them?
In Club Runner?
That's what he's asking.
I'm not sure. Sean, do you know?
I do
do
not
blue.
know.
Okay. That's fine. We'll move on to the next one because we have more questions for you.
Mike, if we don't know, who is willing to ask Club Runner to see if they could or would or when they will?
I'm checking Club Runner right now.
Yeah. They
We're on it,
have
Craig.
good support. They respond fairly quickly. So
And this comes from Barbara. This is all great info, but our club isn't doing much of anything right now because of the COVID concerns surrounding any type of service project or fundraiser. What are other clubs doing, or what have you seen? What are they doing to stay active during this time? And maybe we can just go from low tech to high tech here. No offense. Start with Kelly, Tricia, and then Kathy, and kind of work our way through it.
Yeah, I think everyone's struggling with this. So we have about 24, 25 members. We've dropped down to like 12 active members, 12 or 15 active members on our meetings. So those same 12 or 15 people consistently show up to our meetings, and they're wonderful, but it is really a struggle. And especially since a lot of our members are older and in that high risk category. We just keep trying. We just keep trying to do interesting Zooms. We had a fellow from Prior Lake last week. And our new president has been excellent at just trying to get interesting speakers. And then we do make an effort to call the members that we haven't seen in a while, that used to be active and just are not showing up. So if anyone has the key to this problem, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, let's jump to Tricia on that one.
Okay, we've done several things. We did have a hybrid meeting kind of right off the bat, and now we're completely Zoom. But we did put emphasis back onto the clubs. So everybody broke out into small teams and tried to like brainstorm what can we do safely within the community. And so one of the first things we did was a welcome back to school, and we got volunteers to drop off signs as well. So we offered up supplies. Our Rotarians made welcome back to school for the kids. Thank the teacher, hope you have a great year. But we had hundreds of signs out in our entire school district welcoming them back. And then we rethought our Halloween event into more of a socially distant event. So we usually did a Halloween parade and a costume contest live. And what we ended up doing was a virtual costume contest that people submitted via email in different age groups. And then we had a drive-through candy pickup, and we did 300 bags of candy in 40 minutes. So we've had a lot of great ideas come from the club, and all of it following protocol. So we're just trying to stay consistent to what we've done in the community, but just retool it into what would be appropriate for the current situation.
Okay, and we'll conclude that with Kathy.
I will just piggyback a little off of what Tricia shared as some ideas. We actually started, our club really struggled at the beginning. We literally have half the club that wants to meet in person and half the club that wants to meet on Zoom. And so we're trying to balance that. But we had one of our first meetings was literally just this is a safe environment. Let's all share any thoughts, any ideas. No comments are bad comments. And we had some heart-to-heart conversations about our club. And I think it was one of our best club meetings we ever had. It was just kind of a free, open conversation. But out of that, we've a group of 3 or 4 people got together in a large space, and we wrote handwritten cards we made handwritten cards for every member of our club, telling them that whether they're on Zoom or whether if we have or haven't seen them, that we miss them. And what's interesting is we've had about 6 people come back on Zoom just because they got that card in the mail and knew that we were missing them and thinking about them. But we've turned some of our things. We do an annual food drive. Instead of having it inside a bank or somewhere where we normally pick up or outside the grocery store, we're doing a drive-through one, a local bank parking lot. So we're doing a drive-through food collection. That's coming up, so I don't know how it's going, but that's what we're promoting. So the Rotarians, we're outside, masked and gloved, and people can just drive by and drop off things. So we're doing a drive-by food drive. We've also done cards for the local nursing homes. You know, a lot of our folks that are in the nursing homes are having no visitors or anything like that. So our club decided if you have things at home that you want to make some cards, you want to buy some cards and write them, special notes to residents and say, you know, we're thinking of you. We hope you're having a good day, etc. Just uplifting messages. Or we dropped off little packets of blank cards to members if they wanted them at their homes, and then collected them, and then we delivered them to all the nursing homes in the area is what we did. It's just kind of a way. We wrote on the back of each of them, this greeting is brought to you by your local Rotary Club, just to kind of keep our name out there, but yet do some things that are socially distant. So there's no wrong answers right now. Just don't be afraid to try anything.
Thank you. So I think I will end with a little addition to this as well. I think all of these ideas are great. And what is Rotary great at? Adapting. And that is what we all have to do. There are thousands of projects out there that are outside our normal wheelhouse because we've never been in this position before. But that doesn't mean they can't be done, whether that is signs in people's yard that have the Rotary logo on it that says, thinking of you, if you have problems, call this helpline. For people who are mentally having issues, because this is very difficult on people who are very isolated, or whether it's dropping off cards to nursing home, or whether it's going in and packing meals for kids who don't have food, that can all be done socially distanced. You just have to think about new ways to do things. And we are all bright enough to figure these things out. We just have to think outside of the normal box. So I would like, as we are hitting 4:59, I would like to thank our panelists so very much for coming. Kathy, Tricia, Kelly, and Sean, thank you for the time and effort you put into this. It was much appreciated. It was a huge amount of information, and we appreciate that, because what we're hoping is everybody gleaned at least one thing they can take from this that they can use this week to add to their tricks and trades to get the name of Rotary out there. I'd like to thank Mike Becker. Thank you so very much for handling the questions and answers all 3 times. Remember that although we were talking about public image today, public image affects membership, which affects foundation, which comes back to public image again. It is a circle that we need to keep going. I'd also like to thank Ed Merritt, our district governor, for coming and welcoming us today, and Kathy Hewitt, who makes this whole thing possible and keeps us all in line. Thank you so very much. And we will be keeping the chat room or the room open here, the Zoom room open for the next 15 minutes for people to openly discuss any items that they want. This will end our official meeting, but please, I will be hanging out at least for the next 15 minutes to just chat about what's going on and what things we can do moving forward. So once again, thank you all so much for coming. If this was your first one of these or your third, thank you. And I hope you learned something that you can take back to your clubs. All right, let's just open this up. So you guys can unmute. You do not need to keep yourselves muted anymore. Everybody's so quiet.
Hey, Mike, can you repeat that question about Club Runner?
The question about Club Runner was, they used to have colors that you could pick kind of for your banner. And I guess maybe in the past there was not a blue and gold one. And the question was, have they picked up those colors to be utilized when you pick your basic template or banner?
Yes, they do. They don't call it the Rotary colors, but there is a blue and yellow bright. There's a blue and or azure and white template for your website. Yes, under Club Runner.
Okay.
So, yeah, hi, this is Al. In terms of font colors too, though, is the, a specific question. So, no, you can't put in whatever the hex, or the, what hex code, forget what it's called, but you can't put in a 5-digit code and get the azure color. You can't be specific. And I'm colorblind too, so I rely completely on those codes. I have to have my son tell me, hey, is this close to the Rotary color? But yeah, I know that the templates are there, and I just assumed that they were accurate.
And
They're
that's all
probably
we can do
darn
is
close.
assume that they're accurate for Club Runner. But I guess you got to assume that if you select that Rotary or that template for Club Runner, that the colors will come, should come, or change to the Rotary colors.
So I'm not sure that I don't think it's themed, kind of like PowerPoint or anything like that. So I think the fonts are completely separate from the theme of the template for the Club Runner page. So it looks like Club Runner for the font colors is just, it's like web colors. So you're extremely limited.
Al, if you sent them a message, because whenever I've gone on Club Runner Help, man, they are so speedy on getting back to you. That if you send something saying, I'm looking for the ones that are closest to, the classic Rotary colors, they would tell you what to pick.
Sure. Okay.
I feel like for the fonts, I just went to our website. I haven't, someone else in our club actually works on it, but the headlines on our page, our Club Runner page, are all in, it's a blue that matches the blue buttons and everything from the template. So there must be at least a font color blue that is fairly close.
Yeah, there is, but I don't know what that is, again, unless I ask somebody else, because I can't. So the alphanumeric code that I put in for the approved fonts for the branding don't trigger any close blue. They're ignored by the font colors in Club Runner because it's not one of the approved Club Runner font colors.
Gotcha. So, I was just going to log into the back end of our site and see if I could see what it was that was selected.
Oh, sure. I know this is, nitpicky, but
it's fine. I as a brand person, I appreciate nitpicky.
We talked about creating all of this stuff, and it's fine to do it, but from a low-tech aspect, okay, now I've created this and I put it on my own little page. How can I expand the coverage and the exposure to what we're doing? When we talk about coming up with POA, or we're coming up with other things like that. Besides just putting it on a little small scale of like my Facebook page or whatever, how can we utilize that in a larger scale for our clubs?
You can put it on a giant beer tent like Hayward did.
But if we can't get together, what good does that do me?
Well,
I'm
that's
playing.
true.
I'm playing negative.
We will
Negative
not be
net
like
here.
this forever.
Mike, what we've done, and it's part the COVID situation, part the Hudson Star Observer is not the Hudson paper anymore. It's a broader newspaper. So we lost our kind of locally focused news source for press releases. So I've been doing promoted posts on Facebook, and we did that for the Taste of Hudson and reached tens of thousands of people. But I mean, you can spend $10 and at least get more in people's face. But yeah, if you put stuff just on social media and don't have a budget to it, it's hard to gain that exposure you're talking about. So we've been working in our club about putting some budget for awareness and also engagement, because it does drive membership. If we can capture people on social media and then drive them to the website to get them kind of integrated into who we are and what the next step is.
I think one of the biggest hurdles I found when I was DG is getting everybody to brag about themselves.
Right.
Because I think we're Midwest Minnesota humble. No offense, Kathy, but how can we help overcome that? How can we get what encourages clubs to start bragging about what they are doing?
I think there's a spin on what Kathy had before about sharing a testimonial about why you joined Rotary, and actually have people speak about other members in their club. What inspires you about this Rotarian? Who's the most notable Rotarian in your club? Who brings the most fun to the club and why? And have people tell stories about the other members, because people do a much better job of complimenting somebody else and taking the focus off themselves. So that might be a nice, easy pivot. And it doesn't have to be a video. It could just be like a candid photo and a nice little paragraph, and you're sharing that on social media.
Hey, Mike.
And I think to take it just one step further is to ask the question, if Rotary didn't exist in our community, what would we be missing? For example, in my community, if we didn't have Rotary, Rotary built the helicopter pad for the local hospital. We can start listing the things that Rotary's contributed to the community and the impact we've made. And that's another way to start finding those stories, is to look at what would not be in existence if Rotary didn't exist in your community.
Jack, do you have something you were going to?
Yeah, if I could, I think there's a common theme between PI and foundation and membership, in that if those clubs that are bashful in talking about what they do well, and clubs that are bashful in reaching out and telling people, clubs that are unwilling to ask others, there's some commonality there, and it stunts their growth, it stunts their energy, stunts their participation. Turning that statement positively now, I think those clubs that are intentional about talking about all the good that their club does and all the good that Rotary does around the world, and they do it on a frequent basis, and those clubs that talk about the foundation on a frequent and regular basis, and those clubs that talk about the committee reports that continually talk about what they're doing locally or internationally because of their club's membership, and those clubs that are willing to ask members and have members share why they give to the foundation. It's amazing how those clubs experience increased membership, increased attendance, increased foundation giving, even during difficult times. They acknowledge that we're in a world that we haven't been in, but they don't succumb to it. They keep going forward, and they're very intentional in their actions in those three areas: membership, PI, and foundation, and they do it without apologizing. That may sound pretty blunt and coarse, but that's kind of the mood I'm in.
Well, I think it kind of nails it for me, because so many times we did a good job. Yeah. But we don't expound on it. We don't tell anybody. So how do you get people to join you and then expect to increase your giving to the foundation if you're not telling anybody about it? We're like the best kept secret in the world sometimes. So where can we take Sean? Oh, go ahead, Dale. I don't want to bogart
I think
this.
sometimes what we don't do well either is we don't quantify what we do. We say so for Hayward, we say, well, we work with the backpack program. The truth is that the Rotary Club is the people who started the backpack program. And that at least the last time I was there, they were packing 400 bags for every Thursday for these kids to go home with to feed them through the weekend. So it's one thing to say we started a backpack program, and it's another thing to say we pack bags for 400 children every week so they don't go hungry on the weekend. And there's a huge different impact there. And so I do think we lack because we don't sometimes actually quantify what we do, and it has a much better or much bigger impact when you do quantify it, whether it's volunteer hours or whether it's meals you pack or it's scholarship money you give or it's kids you provide books for. We need to quantify and not just say we do this, because that could mean anything.
Well said. Quantify and intentional.
Yeah.
Well, when you talk about not being unashamed, for instance, a Rotary Club does bell ringing for the Salvation Army. And I know how to raise money for them because they love us, because I take my daughter who's in a wheelchair and put bells on her wrists, and that's all she can do is just shake her hand. Now, I dare you to walk by that vision, and I'm not ashamed to ask and show that. So I think if we can get into that mindset more to take the tools that they've given us and put it out there, that's how we're going to get. I think that, for me, public image almost has to lead the charge for membership and foundation. It really does, because if they don't know who the heck you are, they're not going to join. They're not going to come to you, and they don't know what you're doing. I mean, it's like the lakefront music. They know it's Rotary because their name's everywhere. Just seems to me when somebody asks that question, we should have turned it to say, actually, PI is the most important, or right now really is a very important cog of the three, because if you don't know who the heck Rotary is, you're not going to join, you're not going to give money.
Yeah.
And Mike, when you mentioned PI is most important, I think there are two parts to PI. It's external marketing.
Say it again.
And it's internal. It's to our club members, continuing to tell them all the good things we do, and then externally to the community. And to both, all of a sudden we're going to have our members singing the song more publicly as well.
And to just add to that, now's the time that we need to make sure we don't forget about our internal audience. And right. It's not just telling them things, it's listening to them and finding out what they're needing from us so that we can provide that to help make their membership experience one that they do want to share with other people. And so a lot of times we forget about, we want to tell, and here's what we do, but we need to make sure we ask, what are your expectations and what do you want to get out of this, so that we make sure that we deliver on that and make them members that want to tell their story.
So I'm showing my face here so you can see my COVID hair. This is the longest my hair has been since high school, and that would be like 1981, 82. But I want to, I guess, highlight and thank Kathy and Jack for a couple comments that they made. One is what would be missing without Rotary. So my club, Shoreview Arden Hills, has not been around probably as long as Kathy's has, and we don't have that. However, we don't have that probably because we were really small and hadn't thought that big. And so we can now start to think that way and then build on that to say, okay, so we just got this done, or we were instrumental in getting this done. And then in 5-10 years, we can say, what would we be without Rotary? Where would this community be without Rotary? And then for Jack, you know, the personal accounts of why people participate and why people donate to the foundation. You know, we have at least one couple in the club who, when they pass their estate, you know, and that's not insignificant. And to put them in front of a camera and say and tell their story, what their decades of service to Rotary means to them and has meant to the people that they've served, because they haven't just been in our club because it hasn't been around that long. But in the different clubs that they've been in, you know, that's powerful. And there are a lot of people out there. If you think of what you value and what you know and think to be true, and then you meet somebody who thinks the same way, you're like, oh my gosh, you know, I didn't know anybody thought as closely as I did. I mean, the same way as I do, was around. You know, sure, people have similar thoughts, similar values, but somebody to really, really connect. I mean, that is really powerful. So, I mean, thank you both.
Thank you. And I think your statement was the perfect ending for our meeting today, because I think you just nailed it. So thank you all so very much for coming. Thank you, panelists.